you tell if someone else desires you? That's something I struggle with, and I'm really delighted to have Joslyn from the Mojo Mediator here from mojomediator.com. I'm Cathy Bartoli from the intimacydojo.com. And Joslyn, I suck at this. I've actually gone out on dates with people, and 2 years later I realized they were a date. And one night a friend and I we were flirting with each other very shyly, and neither of us got it. And the next morning I'm like, were you flirting with me? And she's like, yes. And I was like, oh, I was flirting with you. And she's like, oh. So like, I think people struggle with this. Like, how do you know if somebody likes you?
Yeah. Oh, it's a tricky question, right? Because especially in this day and age, when there's so much talk about consensual sexual activity and consensual, the way you approach someone, instead of being harassing or considered sexist or
playing game like pickup artists, kind of manipulating or something like that.
Right. It's a really it's a tricky thing, I think, for us to sort of navigate these things.
Yeah.
Because there's so much political correctness around how you're supposed to behave with people, and especially in this arena. I think I know I've been in those situations too, where I was like really naive about what was actually taking place between me and the other person. And I also think that on the flip side of that coin, or maybe on the same side of that coin, there's something to be said for understanding and taking responsibility for the space that you create when you're communicating with somebody else. Like I know for myself, growing up and maturing in my sexual life, my social sexuality, I didn't always understand how my friendliness was being perceived.
Yeah.
And so when I look back on it, I'm really consciously aware of, like, it's so palpable when I think back to some of the situations that I was in. Obviously, like, someone was directing that sexual energy towards me because it seemed like I was being really open, really friendly, and inviting that, when really that's just my nature.
Yeah, if you're playful, some people take that as like, oh, they're flirting, they want me.
Yeah, and I'm super playful by nature. Typically, when I'm allowed to, when I'm in a safe space, and I'm feeling free to be myself. So I'm not sure that there's one answer for this, because people all have different ways of interacting. We all have different ways of showing up in the social situation that we're in. And so I think really the best way to know is to ask. Right?
Yes.
Like, that's really the only surefire way to really know if somebody is interested in you or not, or if they're just being overly friendly, if they're just really excited that day, or if whatever's going on for them. I think really that's probably the best way to know.
It's using their words like adults. It's hard though. Can you give some examples of how you've asked people? Because like when I think about it, I'm a bigger person, and I know that sometimes people have like, it's their story and their deal, but sometimes they've been insulted if I asked if they were interested in me. They're like, no, just friends. And I'm like, it doesn't always feel good. Like, and nobody likes rejection. It's not delightful. So can you give us some examples of how you've asked people?
Not delightful. No, it's not. It's not delightful. Geez, what would I say? I guess, like, if you and I were having an exchange kind of back and forth, maybe I would probably, I would ease into it. I would probably beat around the bush a little bit, and sort of gauge your reaction to an easy question. Like, I would for myself, let's say I was trying to meet you up, Cathy, and I was really interested in you, and you were like trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I would be asking questions about your relationship with that. I would be asking questions that were intimate.
Yeah.
Really. I would be trying to establish a connection with you on an intimate level.
Right.
Right. So I would be asking about things you like and how you're feeling.
Yeah.
I would bring it in I'm playing with my hair, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
About it. And that's the other thing too, like reading body language, right? People, I think can get body language. I'm very touchy feely.
Yeah, I'm that way with my friends and with people I'm interested in. So it's not like, and different people. Some people are never touchy unless they want sex or want romantic relationships. So I think it can be useful to watch, like, how are they with other people versus how are they with me. Oh, my door just shut. Sorry. But yeah.
That's a really good barometer. Yeah, because definitely look gauging how people are behaving other people and give you a frame of reference for where you land on that grid.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah. And I think that one of the things I do is I tell people that I'm shy. I consider myself one of the shy and awkward people in the world, and I try to own it. So what I did do ask the one night a friend and I flirted, and I've known her for a long time, but like the next day I said, I kind of suck at this stuff, and I don't I'm not sure, and I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but you seem like you might have been flirting with me last night, and I can never tell these things. Could you just confirm? Like, I owned where I was coming from, because I really do suck at this. So, I can't tell. Unless someone says, I want to flirt with you, which Reid Mihalko talks about asking people, and I'm always like, oh, thank God they said it out loud. I know what's happening now.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Asking permission to flirt.
Yeah.
I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. Because you know what, to be honest, that's exactly what I would do, Cathy, is I would just ask. I would say, hey, I was feeling like you were throwing stuff out there. Was I picking that up correctly?
Yeah.
I was feeling some sexual energy there, or some flirtatious intention. Yeah, am I right about that? Or
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yes.
It's fine if it's not, but that's what I thought I was reading, right? And then and get confirmation from the person, right?
Yeah.
Guessing games, we are all trying to do these mind reading tricks and stuff, and it's just not necessary. You can just ask.
Well, and it's really I have read some of the books about body language and how someone turns to you and how long their eyes look and how their pupils dilate. And everybody's different, and it could be the suns in their eyes, or they have, they got poison ivy on their legs, so they're fidgeting, and I think they're not interested because they're fidgeting, and they're really really into talking with me. So we can make up stories about how people respond to us, but I do like asking and getting verbal because it also tells me how they handle things. And I don't necessarily want to flirt with someone who's gonna make up stories or not be able to communicate with me clearly.
Yeah. And not be able to own their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Not be able to own where they're at or where they're coming from, or even gracefully say no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And not freak out because you said something. And I think part of it is we have to handle, if we ask someone, there's a tendency for people, if we find someone we kind of like, we're excited, and we put a lot of our identity on that person. If that person likes me, I'm okay. I'm desirable. Versus if we're like, okay, I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna be there for myself, and I'm gonna find out if this person wants to play with me, engage in a flirtation. And so when we ask, if we're like, so do you like me? And if you don't say yes, don't want to flirt, I'm gonna be devastated, and my life is over. There's a lot of pressure there. It's harder if people say yes because they're feeling pressured. That's not really cool. If they say no but feel uncomfortable, that's the ideal way is to be on a good day. I can do it. I'm like, hey, I'm bad at this, but it seems like maybe you're flirting with me. Are you? I can't always tell. And just be okay. Oh, okay, cool. I'm a little embarrassed that you're not, but I'm okay. And I was enjoying our conversation. Is it okay to continue? Or oh, okay, great. Yeah. How do you like to flirt? So. If we can, making it less like a life or death about our identity and if we're worthy to go forward as a human being.
I love that you brought that up, Cathy, because I think the meanings that we attach to behaviors is really something that's worth examining.
Yeah.
So I love that you brought that up because I think that is a huge component proponents of why people are afraid to be direct and to be vulnerable and be courageous and say exactly what they need. Because being rejected or like getting a no has a super heavy meaning attached to it, whatever that is. That like you're saying, it means you're undesirable, it means you're not worthy, it means you're not good enough, it means nobody loves you, it means you're stuck, you're gonna be alone forever, whatever it is that you're thinking. We all have that. We all create these meanings, right? They're usually beliefs that we adopted somewhere along the line from something that's completely unrelated to what is actually happening.
Yeah, that person they're not our parents or our babysitter or our next door neighbor that we had a crush on when we were 14. They're this unique human being that has a different perspective. Yeah.
No, I love that you brought that up because that's an important thing, I think, for us all to really take time to examine.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the fear associated with rejection, then it makes it a lot easier to be clear about what you want or what you need, or what it is that you're looking for, like the answer, like are you flirting with me, or is it okay to flirt with you, right? So I think that's what we are all looking for too, is that clarity, right? And that's what feels good. It's clarity, right? Knowing whether you are actually flirting with me or not, whether you want to flirt with me or not. Because that not knowing and that guessing game and the mind reading and
it doesn't work.
They don't work, and they're not. It doesn't feel good to be in that space. That uncertainty is not a nice space for us to be in.
Right, and if we're focusing on that, like, oh, she played with her hair, she winked at me, does that mean we're flirting? I'm not really being present with you. I'm being present with my own stories in my own head, and being present and real with people. That's one of the hottest ways to flirt I can think of. And just be with humans.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like that's probably where I've gotten myself into trouble in the past. And it's also part of what made me so good at my job is being able to really authentically be with someone, even if I just met them. And I'm not concerned about what you look like or how you have sex or who you're having sex with or what country you were born in or whatever the case may be. And I think that authenticity is hot, like you were just saying. That's attractive to most people. So let's all start being more real with each other.
Yes.
Okay?
No, right there. That's like we start being real with more people. We feel fulfilled. We feel more fulfilled in our life. And then we're not so hungry when someone does flirt with us that we're like, oh, that must be we're going to have sex now. Or like, we're going to be married in 10 days, I'm sure. It's just like flirtation is playing. It's a playful exchange. Expressing interest, getting to know the person. It doesn't mean I'm committed to anything else or that anything else is for sure going to happen. But yeah, this was a great discussion. I so appreciate Joslyn.
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy to be talking to you too, Cathy. I know we've tried to connect for so long.
Yeah.
You and I have such crazy schedules. It's really been it's a feat that we're connecting today. So I love that we're going to spend more time together because I find what you share with me so valuable. You have such great tools to share with me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and likewise, it was really fun. Sorry, someone's at the door. I'd love to come back and do some more another time if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be so happy to, Cathy.
Great.